Hello again, everybody. This is Craig Evans of Autism Hangout, and thank you for tuning into this Autism Hangout special report. And I have to admit, I've got the best job in the world because every single day I get to sit down and talk to people that are making a positive difference in the life of our special kids all around the world. And today is absolutely no exception. I'm delighted to have back soon-to-be Dr. Mitra Ahani. That's incentive to make sure she goes back to pick up her PhD. She is in school now. But she's got some exciting news to tell us about the co-creation that she has put on the air, what, 6 months ago?
About almost a year.
Okay, a year ago. It's called Let's Cook. So Autism Hangout, please welcome back Mitra Ahani. Welcome, Mitra. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me back, Craig. I love this.
Tell us what's going on with Let's Cook.
I have great news for everybody out there. MyWire.com has graciously allowed us to offer Let's Cook, Life Skills for Kids with Autism, for free to all parents and educators out there that are interested.
Okay.
And Let's Cook is a video tutorial that offers parents and educators a creative way to have fun with their kids and to teach cooking, actually to use cooking as a platform for engagement, fun, reciprocity, with the video tutorial, which shows me cooking with one of my students. And I would love to add that when I started cooking with this student, he only could complete one step of the recipe at a time. And by the end, that we practiced many times before we went into a studio, I actually had to interrupt him so that I could help more because he's becoming so independent at these recipes. We have 6 recipes on there. Each one of them, Craig, and this is one of my favorite parts, comes with the visual recipe and the visual schedule that parents can print out or educators can print out at home and use in the kitchen with their kids. Also included is something called outtakes. And this is basically positive behavior interventions that I used during the sessions when Wyatt was having some breakdowns. There were times where having 6 cameras, 10 lights, all of these things happening in the studio was overwhelming for him. So what I did was we created different ways to keep him engaged, a visual that helped him ask for a break if he needed it. He loves to cut, so I had a box of things he could cut to regulate himself and bring him back in. And it's one of my favorite parts of the program because it's not like typical kids where we say, come on, let's do this again, come on, let's try. He really needed something to anchor him to be able to participate. But once he got that something, and for each of the kids it'll be different, everyone knows their kids best, the amount of engagement and the reciprocity and everything that he did was so wonderful and so natural because the kitchen is such a natural setting that I think it's been wonderful for many kids. Many of my students have done it, and I have to tell you, even my picky eaters enjoy cooking because it is predictable. You do it the same way every time. We have the supports in place, and you get to eat something in the end, or you get to offer it to somebody else. But it has been a wonderful, wonderful way also to incorporate peers and siblings. I do it with my niece who's on the spectrum and her typical sister, and they love to look through the recipes and flip through them and take turns, but in a very natural way. And big emphasis also is that while this is the platform of it is cooking, really what it is about creating an environment that's fun for everyone who's involved. So if they pour too much sugar, it's okay.
Yeah.
If they pour a little too much oil, no problem. You should see the way I cook. It is really about having a good time and engaging and communicating and just having some fun.
Yeah, cooking is such a socially engaging process. Mitra, for those of the people in the audience that haven't seen the previous video, give folks a little background about how you got into this and how you got the inspiration for cooking.
Yes, I will. My niece is on the spectrum, and she was having a really tough time doing anything at school because all she wanted to do was eat. And that's really very culturally appropriate for my culture. But I realized that she wasn't really engaged in much else, and we didn't want to kind of use the M&Ms and the cookies to engage her because we had done that for long enough. So an occupational therapist, a special education teacher, and myself got together and said, hey, what about a cooking program for her? And it was such a wonderful idea. We started taking pictures of recipes, and the reaction was immediate with her. And it wasn't necessarily in learning how to cook. It was in her excitement to engage. It was in her reciprocity. It was the amount of time she was engaging. it was the fun we had with this. She loved to touch things, so we could touch the flower or touch the, all the different things, and it worked so wonderfully that she started walking a little bit taller, smiling more, and she started to learn how to do the steps of the recipe. And the beauty of it is that once we really teach our kids to be able to follow a visual schedule, whether it's a recipe or the way to do things, we're promoting their independence. And that's something that, I want for her. And it doesn't have to be a grand scale. It can be in the smaller scale. But what I notice in her is that when she can do things independently, she's proud of herself. We all are. So it has been, that's how the journey started. And as I started doing it with more kids, I really noticed the same thing. Now, some kids don't like it, and that's fine. They don't have to do cooking. I was never a big chef myself, and when I told my mom about the project, she asked me who was going to teach me how to cook first. But I promised her that even the visual recipes, they help me know how to cook. And it was fun, and I just really love the idea of, oftentimes parents ask me, Mitra, what can I do with my kids at home? And it isn't about a toy, right? I have tons of toys. Oftentimes they're the last things used. It is about creating a predictable environment for the kids to be able to be part of it and not have to kind of be negotiating within it to figure out what to do. So I can't talk enough about how wonderful the project has been. I need to give a big shout out to mywire.com that funded the project, produced it, and is offering it for free to families, which has been unbelievably generous of them.
Okay, let's give the URL right now where people can go to take a look at these shows.
Right. If you go to mywire.com, so www.mywire.com, at the very bottom you'll see a link that says, Let's Cook. Okay. Click on that and you will have all 6 recipes and the outtakes at your fingertips.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, Mitra, you're in private practice in California, correct?
I am.
And if people are looking to get in touch with you to learn more about what you can do for their kids, how can people find you on the web?
They can www.route, R-O-U-T-E, the number 2, language. And just for people who don't know, I'm a speech and language pathologist, and I emphasize functional communication, social communication, engagement, and work off of the developmental models. So DIR, CERTS, all the things that help me match up where the kids are and how to promote their language and communication.
Okay. Do you have any future shows in mind?
Well, it all depends on how many comments we get back on this one. So I would love everybody to leave comments. We have lots of ideas of things to do. I think that we're definitely not where we want to be in terms of creative ways to really teach our kids life skills that are really meaningful and really are going to empower them and create a more harmonious life for everybody. I would love to start programs to teach kids some of the basic things, how to use a remote, how to pick their own DVD, put it in the DVD player, very simple things that promote independence in their home. And somehow that's kind of been overlooked. We spend a lot of time in home programs doing things that don't necessarily, that are wonderful. I'm not knocking anything that's going on, but I haven't seen yet the things that we need for teens and adolescents as they really grow into adulthood to be able to do things on their own, leisure time activities. I've started doing social groups that aren't particularly structured because I want the kids to be able to generate it themselves. We're here to support them. But, and it was a great success. It was the first time I've kind of done something saying, you know what, we're not going to plan it. The kids are going to come in and they're going to decide and we're going to go with it because that's what I want. And it's always an amazing journey, but it's been really wonderful. And the kids respond so well to, of course, we have all the supports here. I've got people here, I've got communication systems, I've got all sorts of things going, but at the end of the day, I think it's the fact that they get to choose.
Yeah.
It's empowering, and you know what? They need to know that they have that because in adulthood, we want them to be choosing.
Absolutely.
So,
continued good fortune to you and what you do. Again, thank you so much for what you do for our kids on a daily basis.
Thank you. It is my pleasure. I love doing it. I'm so excited to have found my purpose in life.
Excellent. I love to hear that. Mitra, thank you for stopping in today.
Thanks, Craig. I'll see you soon.
And thank you, Autism Hangout. I'll be back again soon with another special report.